Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and in this video we're breaking down Jannik Sinner's backhand. So let's just play it through quickly. Okay, so you can see how he starts in a good ready position. He does his split step, his knees are bent. He keeps he starts with the left hand on the throat of the racket when he's in a ready position, but then he actually slides it down to the top of the grip. So you can see how he actually goes from the throat of the racket with the left hand to sliding it down to the top of the grip. And here you can see he's almost in kind of like a semi-western, but not too much of a semi-western, kind of in between a semi-western eastern forehand grip when he puts that left hand on the throat of the racket. The bottom hand is kind of in a neutral, kind of a chopper grip, backhand grip. So when the ball comes in, watch how he does his unit turn, and notice how he keeps his head very still on the unit turn. So he really keeps his head and his eyes focused on the ball, and watch how he gets side on. So we can't see the Nike logo at the beginning, but notice how the Nike logo gets side on, and I'm actually going to draw a line through his shoulder line, but also through his waist line, and we're going to have a little look at this shoulder turn. So now I want you to keep an eye on his hands and where they're positioned when he does his takeback. So he actually keeps his hands extremely low when he's taking the racket back. A lot of club players tend to take their swing up too high, and they almost go up with their hands like this, whereas you can see how low Sinner actually keeps his racket when he does his takeback. And this is something he's changed over his career, to keep the racket lower. One thing I want you to notice is when he starts this turn, just look how he loads on that back leg as well. You can see how his quads are really engaged when he's loading on that back leg, and he just keeps the racket down. This arm is almost straight, almost, as he's taking the racket back. So now he's getting into the take back position, and he starts to extend the racket back, and he keeps this arm pretty straight, and this arm, it's got a slight bend. So that just tells you he's not tense in his left arm. He's pretty relaxed in this left arm, and this right arm has more tension going through it, almost like he's stretching a rubber band back, especially through this muscle here. He's really stretching that muscle back. And just notice where the strings are facing. So the strings are facing the side, and the tip of the racket is slightly facing up. So the tip of the racket is slightly facing up, and the weight is on his back. The weight is on his back leg, and he's in this position. He's storing a lot of his energy in this position. His core's engaged, his eyes are set on the ball, his leg's loaded, and you can see with this right leg, it's not yet loaded into the ground, and he's going to do that when he steps forward. So now you can see as he's about to step forward into the ball with that right foot, we can see that his racket head is actually going to start to drop. So with his wrist here, he's going to start to drop his wrist, and he's going to make a racket drop with the wrist. So his left hand is going to start to do some racket head drop as he steps forward with his right foot. And now I want you to see how much he actually drops that racket head down, and you can see if I draw a line through his wrists, he's going to drop under that yellow line, and the tip of the racket is now facing down towards the ground. So he's really dropped that left hand down towards the ground. He's extended with that right arm, and he's just using that left wrist to drop the racket head. He's nice and loose, and now he's going to start to extend out to the contact, and notice where he's making contact here. So he's makes contact almost with a little bit of a bent arm here. So his arm's a little bit bent there. We can see on the graphic here that the marker's showing us this angle. Ooh, wrong tool. The marker's showing us this angle here, and there's a slight bend on the left arm on contact. It's not dead extended. So if I just highlight that, you can see there's a slight bend out to the contact point here. So that's where we'll get rid of that. So this is where he's making contact. So, but the real key is what he does after contact, and that's because he's really going to extend. He's really going to extend through the ball with this left arm, driving all the way into the court here. And then he's going to really get that follow through up nice and high. And notice where he finishes with the racket. So the racket's behind his back, and his right arm almost flexes his bicep. So he's almost flexing his bicep up over his shoulder in that position, and then it's going to swoop back down. And just notice how he gets back into his ready position. He slides the left hand back up onto the throat of the racket between each shot. He just feels more comfortable adjusting his racket for each shot when it's on the throat of the racket, rather than always keeping it on the grip. So we can see here we're going into another backhand. He's going to do the same process again. So he slides that grip down. He does his unit turn. He gets the Nike tick. He gets the Nike logo side on. And notice here where the tip of the racket, so it's almost a way to think about it is the tip of the racket is almost facing us watching, so from the side view. So he points that out to the side, and then he takes the racket up back. But at no point does he take his wrists above his waistline. So he keeps the wrist super low until he gets to his set position, where now this is where the left hand is going to start to take over. He really drops under this ball, because we can see how this ball's a little bit higher. So he's dropping even more with that left hand, pointing the racket down. He's getting his weight onto his front foot here, and then he's contacting and extending all the way out to the ball here with that left arm, making contact really far out in front of his body. And because he's so loose with that wrist, that's how he's able to create a lot of acceleration into the ball. And notice how much he commits to the follow through. He doesn't. A lot of club players sometimes stop before they really commit all the way through to the follow through, and they miss out on a lot of power when they do this. So that's a real key. And then he's basically just going to keep repeating that same cycle of unit turn. Here he goes for a slightly wider one. Another thing you can kind of look at is how he actually turns his foot out. So he turns that foot out to the left, and then he steps forward. So he goes almost like left foot and then puts weight on the right leg. So it's always like left foot first, right leg, and then contact out in front. So I hope you enjoyed the video and you learned a few tips. If you want to see more videos like this, leave a comment and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care.